Welcome to Madrid Reviews. This is your host, Christian Madrid. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about Scream 7. Let's get to the review now, yo. Alright, y'all, let's get into this. So, I just saw the newest Scream film, Scream 7, and it was pretty mid. It wasn't terrible, but also wasn't that good. And it's definitely the weakest Scream film in the franchise. I was just disappointed with this film. Kevin Williamson, he did a disservice to this film franchise. And it's a drop in quality from the previous Scream films, I gotta say, man. But the writing is not very good. As the story does start off good, It gets interesting, First two acts are not bad, but then by the end, I was disappointed. There's a lot of plot holes in this movie. A lot of shit in this movie doesn't make sense, and it feels like the movie in a way was a little bit too nostalgia bait. They relied too much on that, instead of trying to create new stories, just create stories from the past. The third act was very disappointing and underwhelming, as the killer reveal is dog shit, complete dog shit, made zero sense. This movie does bring back some OG characters from the first Scream film, but then by the end of the movie, it completely wastes them. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's this AI subplot that's so fucking dumb to the point where it feels like, it was written by AI, as it was very generic, generic as fuck. The characters are not very well developed, and these younger characters, that they try to introduce are not very interesting. I think the horror and kills are good in this film, that's definitely the best part of the film, so it was intense and entertaining. I can't say it was boring. The acting, I didn't think it was very good. As I said, the new cast, no one really, shines in this, Nev Campbell, even, she just seems like she's phoning it in, just there to collect the paycheck. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega's presence is definitely missed in this film for sure. The cinematography and production design, they're fine, they look fine, It was cool they brought back some set pieces from previous films, especially in the first scene, they're at the house, that was in the first one, that was a cool little touch. The visual effects look pretty good, as it's a gory and bloody film, it's by far the best part of the film, the kills for sure. The soundtrack is pretty forgettable, as there's not really any good songs played in the film, but the sound effects were fine, The editing isn't bad either, as it's never boring, and the pacing, it's fine. Overall, Scream 7, it's entertaining and fun, but there's too many plot reveals, plot holes, not plot reveals, plot holes, and shitty kill reveal that ruins the movie. But still check it out, for yourselves. You may like it, you may not. There's a lot of mixed reviews on this movie. The critics are saying it's like 33% Rotten Tomatoes, and the audience is like 77%. I'm like somewhere in the middle with it. I'm giving this film a D+. We're eating all right watching this movie. It's like Burger King type shit. Alright, y'all, so that's the end of the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment on whether you have seen this movie or excited to see it. And if you've already seen it, let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite Scream film? Mine's still the first one, I really liked, the last one I did 6, but 7 was a downer. But anyways, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button alert so know when I drop a new review. I appreciate you all for watching. See you on the next one. Have a good morning, night, or afternoon, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch me talk about movies. Thank you. Bye-bye.